actually live, guys. Ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Good morning, Flagler County. This is Danielle Anderson, your host of Lifeline, the radio show connecting you to positivity in your community. And we have the history in the house today.
Yeah.
Past, present, and future. It kind of seems like that, right? Like past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Am I getting axed today?
No.
Am I the face of history past? Is that
No,
what
no.
this is
I
about?
was trying to figure out the order.
After all he's done
No,
to us,
no,
we're
I was
going
thinking-
live.
Well, I'm
That
thinking,
would be
like
future.
Elaine did, she did the history, and then she retired.
Yeah.
You're currently the president, and you're kind of like our future of history here in Flagler County. So we got a pretty good group,
Nice
right?
little mix. Yes.
That's better than the Christmas story.
Hey, that's good stuff, though. So, we have some really great guests in the studio today. We've got Peter, Elaine, and Dr. Ed. But everybody here is representing the Flagler County Historical Society and a really great event that they have coming up here in June. And I think it's like the first time you guys have done this. Is that right, Ed?
That's correct. This is the banner inaugural year for Bunnell History Day. We're
And
very
so,
excited.
For people who don't know you, tell them who you are and a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Ed Sharkovich. I've been in Flagler County since 2003. Took over the helm of the Flagler County Historical Society in 2018, and over the last 7 years have worked very diligently with a great team of people on bringing to light exactly what Flagler County history entails, taking all of our artifacts and stuff and properties and stories and turning it into learning and educational experiences for children and their families. So I'm very excited to be joined by Dr. Elaine Studnicki, and then also, of course, Peter Johnson. The two of them are tremendous workers, have made a huge difference in our effectiveness at bringing the history message of Flagler County out to the public.
And you've done a phenomenal job of really kind of corralling and revitalizing the history team over here that kind of encompasses the county. And Elaine, you were instrumental in revitalizing the Palm Coast Historical Society, right?
Oh, yeah, and that was fun, too. Yeah, so I'm Elaine Studnicki, and yes, I was president of the Palm Coast Historical Society and actually a co-historian for the city of Palm Coast with Art Dyke. And that was a wonderful experience, great people in Palm Coast. And as time goes on, you move on and you retire. But history has always been at the core of what I wanted to do. So I talked to Ed, and Ed said, come on down. And so I did. And Bunnell is a very special town, a very special city who has the potential to just outshine so many other cities in this state. And they are going to do that. And this event is a key stepping stone for Bunnell moving forward into the future and coming together as a community.
And I knew that we had a Flagler County Historical Society, but I never knew we had one for Palm Coast until you.
Yeah.
And so, everything you put your mind to and your touch on, it seems to just like explode and just goes in a good way and just really have like ripple effects across the community.
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, hey, we could do anything. We can do anything if we set our minds to it, and that's it. And the history is just an interesting part of our whole county. And I have to say that Flagler County represents all of the historians and societies in the county, and that's very special.
I think people that gets lost in translation. They always assume it's just Bunnell. How did you guys rope Peter into all this?
So
It was an easy mark.
No, I got involved with Ed and Elaine. I'm a volunteer with the Historical Society, and we do. I personally do like a lot of artifact recovery and preservation work, and
wow.
I do a lot of volunteering with them. And just through bringing in artifacts that we found locally within the county and stuff, I've slowly been getting more and more invites to join into things. So they had pitched Bunnell History Day to me. I was super excited to hear about it. I've been in Palm Coast since 2010, and in Palm Coast, there wasn't a lot going on there at the time, so a lot of my friends were in Bunnell, so I'm very familiarized with the area, and I look at it from a super high-level perspective of Bunnell has a lot to offer our city. At Palm Coast, the county, the beaches, it's in super close proximity. There's a nice downtown area, and it's slowly starting to get revitalized and really brought out to shine. So I think Bunnell has a lot of history, and I think Bunnell History Day is really going to highlight everything that we have to offer in the area.
So who kind of came up with the idea?
It's not my
I
fault.
knew it.
It's not my fault.
It's the best kind of
It's
way.
all your
It is
fault.
entirely your
my
fault.
fault. All I did was
Entirely.
write a grant, and here we are.
Oh my gosh! So tell us a little bit about that, and what was the concept? Because maybe we should backtrack and tell people a little bit about you guys pulling together the academy, because that really seems like a catalyst for getting people interested.
Also her fault.
Yeah. Well, the History Academy is, again, a lot of fun. And it was created so that we could start to have discussions about history. A lot of people say history, know your history, and it will influence your future. But how to do that and what skills you need to do that are really important. And so the History Academy was created for that. And it spun into lots of lectures. And this year we're having a boat tour of the canal system and bus tours with Ed around the county. So it has been extremely popular and something worthy of moving forward.
So what did you think, Ed, when she had talked to you about doing something like this? Because you're super organized. I mean, you are like on point.
Wow.
Oh, stop.
He is. I told him before. I was like, dude, I thought I was good. He runs
Ed's
circles around
meticulous.
everybody.
I really don't. Yeah,
He
no.
does. His notes are good.
When Elaine came up with the idea of the History Academy, I had event envy. I'm like, wow, this is really something that I should have thought of, but I didn't. But her concept of it was so amazing and perfect that absolutely I was on board with that. When Elaine retired from City of Palm Coast and was looking for something to do, we just reached out and drew her right in because she's got an unbelievable track record of accomplishments and a tremendous amount of motivation, which matches what all three of us are concerned about, which is educating and elevating people's awareness of the present day based on the life lessons of those that came before us. So when she came up with this idea of Bunnell History Day, it was awesome. Our biggest goal and vision for this event is not just entertainment and food trucks and a bounce house and a mechanical bull and reenactors and educators and speakers that are coming in to talk. We really want to use this event to draw the entirety of the Bunnell community and also the county together. And I'm talking about division lines that have existed going back to the very early 1900s, where it was black and white and different groups. We want to talk about all of the history, the good, the bad, the ugly. You can't go back and change things, but what you can do is open dialogue and conversations and build bridges between groups so that as these people come together and share the things that have happened to them in their community, you can empathize with what people have been through. You can come together and then as a group and a community unified, move forward. So one of the things that we were talking about this morning in another meeting was that Bunnell History Day, in essence, is like us taking that flag and planting it on the moon, saying this is what we've decided to stand for. This is what we want our community to come together and to be, where it's people talking to people. And then as a community, not being able to go back and change or resolve things that have happened in the past, but acknowledging them, and then the whole community moving forward into the future. And that's really what's got me excited about this event. And these are things that we've had conversations with about between the three of us and with others. And this is what we really want this Bunnell History Day to establish the precedent for year after year.
So were you hanging out with the sis ladies?
Oh, yes.
Is that who it was
Yeah,
this morning?
Yeah. Well, no, that was the other day, but they were there. Yes.
That's one of the
Indeed.
things that has kind of been like a mantra for them is, kind of talking about those boundaries. But what can we expect? Like, I'm just somebody walking up on the event, which is going to be at Coquina City Hall, right?
Behind that in AJ Field. So I'll tell you what you can look at, what you'll find. First of all, in the morning, you're going to find lectures. And the first one is going to be 100 Years of Voter Suppression. It's going to be held in the Carver Center and promises to be just so knowledgeable, and helpful. So the second one is, it's about a story about the great-great-great-granddaughter of an enslaved man in Flagler County. And the owner of the slave was Abraham DuPont. And she wrote a book about this. She's going to come and talk about that book. And she is such a enlightened person. She feels the same way about Bunnell that we do. And she'll be there. And what will be also interesting is that the DuPont family will be there as well. So first of all, you're going to get a lot of education. But you're also going to walk into a field that is spread out in a community kind of way with lots of fun things to do. And you're going to walk up to this person and say, who are you? And that person just might say, oh, I'm John Audubon.
Oh, wow.
And there'll be 8 reenactors there. And the goal is to have adults and students talk to these reenactors, engage with them, and find out information about them so that the education continues and elevates their knowledge of our history.
So is it set up kind of in a way like the Native American Festival where there'll be tents or displays that people will come up to and to learn more things?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so we're gonna have a bunch of different reenacting stations. There's gonna be vendors with different products that are being sold. We have a mechanical bull that's gonna be on site. There's gonna be 50-50 raffles. We have food trucks that are gonna be set up. There's just like everything you'd see at a regular festival in Palm Coast, except with a lot more history involved and a huge focus on that too, because a lot of times people don't often draw a distinction when speaking of history because of Palm Coast recent incorporation within the county, right? We only have 25 years or so of Palm Coast history, but prior to that, Flagler County was viewed mainly as a whole, and a lot of the things that we're focusing on at Bunnell History Day is stuff that is applicable across the county and even across the region in general. A lot of the practices, such as turpentine, where they would basically harvest the sap from the tree and use it for shipbuilding, or the sawmill plantation. A lot of those practices weren't just unique to this area; they were unique to the time period of Florida. So it's really going to be a nice step back in the history to see what a lot of stuff doesn't get discussed as much. That's very interesting to the area.
Is there any chance you'll have like a turpentine station or the sawmill set up?
So we're going to have a couple of reenactors that are themselves carpenters that'll be portraying carpenters from that era, and really, you know, sawmill history here in Flagler County goes back to the 1770s. We've got Hewitt Sawmill and Dam, which is west of the Florida Agricultural Museum. They rebranded recently, but it goes back a very long time. Flagler County timber was used in shipbuilding and in house construction up in St. Augustine for decades, you know, through the 1700s, even up into the first Spanish period, you know, into the 1500s. So come walk around. You just don't know who you're going to walk into and who they're representing and what they're going to be doing. And this is part of why we're going to be handing out these passports to kids. And their goal is going to be to go and get each of the reenactors to stamp this passport so that they can be exposed to these different windows of history that happened here.
I was just thinking how cool it would be like a passport through time.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, that's incredible. So how far back do we go?
All the way. I mean, as far as our history
We're going
goes,
like dinosaurs?
yeah, well, as far as our history goes here, like Native Americans were interacting with a lot of animals in the Ice Age and the Pleistocene era. So, I mean, 14,000 years is a little bit south of here, what they found as far as some of the oldest Native American. Right. So Florida is extremely rich in history, dating back thousands and thousands of years, way before anyone ever settled here.
So in the Cisco Dean Research Library, we've got an entire display case full of Native American pottery that's Timucuan. It's been estimated in age by the former archaeologists for city of St. Augustine and the state of Florida at 5,000 to 6,000 years old. We've got a spear point that's as big as the palm of my hand that's still razor sharp on the edges, and that came up in a post hole digger out in western Flagler County.
I believe it.
And so we've got all of that. Europeans first came through our area September 9th, 1565, with Pedro Menendez de Villas looking for shipwrecked French sailors that had been scattered by a hurricane. So Native Americans and then Spanish really since the 1500s down in this area.
That's really exciting. All right, so we're going to take a really quick break, and then we're going to talk about the other things they'll find at History Day, and then what else they can find if they hang out with you guys at the Historical Society. So
Awesome.
we'll be right back. Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, is there anything we're
Sound
missing?
okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not missing anything yet, are we?
I wanted one of us talk about how spread out it is and about the historic homes along Moody.
Okay.
And then the church, we're going to have the third speaker in the
And also the
Methodist
sign.
church.
The sign.
Yeah,
The signs.
sign.
Yeah.
Oh, the signs. Where's the
Well,
sign?
this sign.
And then do you want me to wrap up what else at the historical society?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you want to
listen.
talk about that, if not, that's fine.
Yeah, we could. I don't know if we could show it. It's pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
big.
They'll be able to see it on here.
So if I can.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So
Jealous.
this is the.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
Let's get back on the radio. Are we ready, Mark? All right, so we're back with the Flagler County Historical Society. Ed, show us that cool sign before we forget about it.
There you go.
I'm so jealous. Tell it. What is that about?
Well, this is about Bunnell's history. So we are creating a Bunnell history trail. And this is one of the first signs that we're going to install in the city. And we have others as well. Again, it's another way for us to celebrate the history throughout the community. So you'll find those, and you'll find it online as well. And you'll be able to travel around and read the history of Bunnell.
So, are there plans to do like an audio tour or a mobile tour, any of that kind of thing?
Well,
From-
we'll have a QR on it, and you could access it online, so you could read more and hear more as well.
That is very cool.
So one of the goals that we're working on, the big picture, is to work with the city of Bunnell to formally legislate a city center, which it's never had before. So if you took a magic marker and drew around the old courthouse, the telephone exchange building, the Holden House Museum, the Little Red Schoolhouse Museum, the water tower, the Doc Dean House, that would be the formal city center. And then to take that to the state and have it declared a history corridor, and then to take that to the federal government and have it declared a historic district. So with that, with the sign program, setting signs up both on National Register and then proprietary signs with the Historical Society, we could have walking tours, driving tours, bus tours that would point out the remnants of history that are still there, and make it be a hub of history education. But Bunnell has been even before before Flagler County was founded in 1917. The city of Bunnell existed, and it's always been, Bunnell has always been the crossroads of Flagler County and the county seat. So all of what I just talked about, the goal is to reestablish and refresh in people's top of mind that Bunnell is the county seat and the crossroads still of Flagler County.
And you've got the Crossroads Bar right there, which I really think is so cool. That those buildings down there are just, if you really get in there and you start to look at them, I mean, they're like, those are amazing. It's like a bank building that's right on the other side of the tracks.
That's
It's just
there's so much to
incredible.
celebrate there.
And those are
Yeah.
things you can't just replicate either. I mean, that takes time to, like, you can't just put up a building that's been there for 100 years. So that's what's so unique about Bunnell, and the fact that there is a centralized downtown area that has history built in. We just have to do a better job of promoting it and basically exploiting the history of showing people, hey, look, come down here. And that's how you build the culture, and that's how you build more businesses. And it just all formulates into that.
I know so many people who do road trips. They look for those brown signs that says historic downtown area, and that's where they want to go.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, I mean, it's perfect.
And the potential, of course, is not only to deliver our history, but to build Bunnell up and to make it that, oh, I want to go to Bunnell and see this there, and that will bring in more people to our restaurants, to our stores, etc. So it really is a vision that is being used here for moving into the future.
So a case study would be the city of Palaca.
Absolutely.
Back in the 1990s, I can remember driving over the bridge and coming into downtown Palaca, and everything is kind of a wreck,
Yeah.
and empty buildings, burned out buildings, the brick buildings on either side of the main road when you come in. And then one year, Bunnell hosts the Bassmasters National Fishing Tournament.
Palaca, not Bunnell.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. So talking about Palaca.
We're working on it.
Yeah, that's good.
We're
Yeah.
getting there.
So with that, the fishing tournament was so successful that Bassmasters signed whatever it was, 20, 30, 40, 50-year contract to hold that every year. So as soon as that contract was signed, all of a sudden, all those buildings are getting renovated. instead of empty spaces, there are antique shops and coffee shops and little restaurants, and then they put a small hotel right there.
Mural projects.
Murals,
Absolutely.
art mural district, you
on the
know,
list.
exactly. You know, all of that came about, and now when you drive into Palatka, it's like, wow, you know, I mean, it's really amazing. So this is an additional part of our vision is to take the bones of what still exists in Bunnell and refresh, elevate, draw attention to, turn it into a district that people can come to, wander around, spend the day, spend the night.
I love that historic hotels.
Right.
Sign me up. I'm there.
Yeah, and
Haunted. Let's do it.
If you've been there recently, some of the work that's being done up and down that main stretch there is just absolutely breathtaking for some of the
In
for some
Palatka?
no, and here in Bunnell, some of the work that's
Oh.
being done as far as some of the restorations of the houses. I know Rob and Faith have done a great job restoring their house. There's a few other projects there. I mean,
Poppies.
it's just there's-
Poppies is really bringing some,
Yeah, that's-
some fresh traffic
Great,
in.
Poppies. And do you know, on the same day that we're having Bunnell History Day, Poppies is going to have a
Highwayman.
Florida
Highwayman.
Highwayman.
Thank
the
you.
highwayman presentation.
Right. So we're just celebrating that as well as this, and there's another thing that's going to happen. You can see when you come to Bunnell History Day, and that is an art auction. The local artist J.J. Graham is donating pictures so that we can have an auction. And then my friend here, Ed, he's going to have his pictures there as well. So it's a real convergence of history, culture, and art that just everybody needs in their life.
And you can come ride a mechanical bull.
And,
I thought he was joking.
no, yeah. I'm not writing that.
I think you could turn on like really slow, right? That is amazing. I
Yeah,
mean,
so-
can you believe all this? I mean, just from a small seed of an idea, look at all the different pieces that have come together now, and everybody's working together for the same goal.
Right, and thank you for saying that, because there are a lot of people working together here. The Bunnell Police Department and Chief Brannon has been just marvelous.
Alvin Jackson.
Alvin and Jackson.
Kristen Bates.
Flagler Assist
Yeah.
is going to be helping us. Palm Coast has helped us with the cones. So it really has been heartwarming.
As
and
well as the
encouraging.
fundraising, as well, a lot of buy-in from the local community. There's been a lot of great support from the local businesses
That's
as well
true.
that have contributed to make this possible. So,
Right.
I mean, it's a full force effort with everyone. School boards helped out. There's been a bunch of different hands involved in this. So it's not
Yeah.
just the volunteers. It's also the community coming together to make this.
And
completely
business
feasible.
owners, Sizemore
Yeah.
Welding.
Sizemore, A&S Hardware helped
right.
out.
Yep.
There's a list.
Right, absolutely.
So
There's a long
for
list.
people who haven't been over to see like the Cisco Dean Research Library, it's really this amazing little spot. Tell them about what they'll find there if they come to look.
It is jam-packed full of stuff. You remember Sanford and Son TV show back in the 70s and 80s? It's like walking in on that. We as the County Historical Society, we're the largest record holder of county archived records. And we've got photos and family files and artifacts and
Original newspapers.
all
Really?
kinds of stuff that's just jam packed. And
Photographs.
recently, we were incredibly fortunate. This is really a gold mine of taking in the 40-year photography career of Theo Hine. So Theo Hine was a photographer here in the county
really?
between the early 1950s and the early 1990s, and we took in 32 boxes of photos, negatives, records, and the cameras that he shot everything with. And Theo Hine was colorblind, ethnically colorblind. So what we're discovering in these boxes are not just photos from the county, but of African American culture and weddings,
Wow.
and
What a treasure.
graduations and just amazing things. Just a real quick short story. So we took these boxes and I started going through them, and I came across a stack of photos from the 1967 Carver High School reunion, and maybe 30 or 40 photos. And that day, Elaine and I were going to go speak to this Black women's group down at the Carver Center. So just a little voice in my head on the way out the door says, "Take those photos." So I brought them with us, and we were talking to them about history and wanting to get their history and their stories. And I said, we also need your help, because we just took in the Theo Hine photography collection, and everybody perked up. And I said, and right here in my hand, I've got the 1967 Carver High School reunion photos, and 3 or 4 of the women jumped up and said, that was our class. So they came running up and grabbed the photos, and they're going through them. And so you've got one conversation happening over here, says, there you are, and there I am, and there's so-and-so and so-and-so. And a woman on the other side of the room, with her mouth hanging open almost, stood up holding up a Daytona paper from that day that we were there. And the headline on one of the inside sections of the newspaper was the 1967 Carver High School reunion. So we brought the photos from the reunion with us to a room full of women from that class. And then the other woman who was from that class had the Daytona paper talking about that class. And that was such a key that unlocked the lock to us hearing the history of that group of women, especially that we are now going to be incorporating into the Cisco Dean Research Library.
There's I know we have 2 minutes. There's a couple of really great projects that are going on this summer. One of them is the Boys and Girls Club is going to do a history project. And I think it would be so amazing if you guys would be able to link up with them and share some of that, because so often we hear from the same voices over and over in the community, and there's so many people that are undiscovered, like what you just found.
Right.
It could be amazing.
We could do that. We could do that. Before we leave, I want to make sure our audience understands that Bunnell History Day is spread out. So if you look online on the Flagler County Historical Society webpage, you're going to see a calendar of events. And, for example, the Red Brick Schoolhouse is open from 11 to 1. You could go there.
Oh, nice.
You could go straight to the field. You could go to the Carver Center, or you can go to the Methodist Church at 1:30 and hear our third and final speaker for the day and sit in their sanctuary for this. So we've really tried to make a collection of really key sites in the city for people to experience.
And this is the first of many, right?
First annual.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So we just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. How can people get more information? What's the website?
FlaglerCountyHistoricalSociety.com. We also have a Facebook page, Flagler County Historical Society. The Bunnell History Day event is pinned to the top of the Facebook page. Those are the two best ways.
And you can always call the office as well.
Yeah, so the phone number for the Historical Society is 386-437-0600.
And most important is this is a free event, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Free
Yes,
admission for all.
absolutely.
Lots
This
of
is
fun.
free. So you bring your kids, spend the day, learn a whole bunch of really great stuff, and maybe generate some field trips over the summer for your kids to come back and check things out.
Yeah, and I will mention too that the kids, you talked about kids, Calvary Church is manning the kids zone. So there's going to be popcorn and
Face painting.
Face
We've got
painting
a group of metal
shaved
detector
ice.
historians that are going to be showing kids how to use metal detectors and whatnot. So,
ham radios. What's
Right.
a ham radio?
antique car show. There's going to be an antique
Cars.
car show.
You know what? I think the one thing we did not tell anybody, what's the date?
June 7th.
June
June
7th,
7th.
10 to 3.
Mark your calendar. June
Yeah,
7th.
June
June
7th,
7th, 10 to 3. And we'll have a nice little comfort station for you if you get a little warm.
And
Awesome.
just as a call to the community as well, if you guys have anything of historical value that you have to your family that you want questions on, bring it out. We'd be happy to discuss it with you. If you guys want to volunteer with us, we're always looking for volunteers. There's always a way to get involved. Please reach out to us. We love having involvement from the community.
Absolutely.
We want to give a big shout out to WNZF News Radio,
Yeah, thank you.
Flagler
Thank you.
News
Yeah,
Radio,
thank you
Flagler
very
News
much.
Weekly,
And thank you.
Vigilante Philanthropists, Massage by Natalie and Company, and also our Benjamin Moore Paint Store right here in Palm Coast for sponsoring the show. And please check it out at FlaglerCountyHistoricalSociety.com.
There we go.
And you have all the information right there. So thanks for coming in and sharing.